Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
To close out 2020, we're covering the once big hit anime, Yuri on Ice.
It's the big hit anime.
Yes.
Now and forever. After suffering humiliating loss at the Grand Prix Final, Japanese skater Yuri Katsuki is ready to hang up his skates forever. Taking time off the ice, he reevaluates his passion only to go home without medals, confidence, or reason to return to the rink being called Little Piggy until his idol, Victor, helps him get back into shape.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos. Oh gosh, yeah, Little Piggy is probably the funniest name on here.
Yes, his idol, Victor Nikiforov.
Yeah.
The Russian skater.
Yes.
Yes.
So we actually heard about this anime for a very long time, and it was a long time before we even saw it completely. We originally saw it back in 2019, but we never finished it until recently because Crunchyroll had the first 3 episodes in Japanese on their official channel.
Very generous, very generous.
So we watched those 3, and we wanted to see more, but they did not have any more episodes available to watch for free, whether in Japanese or English. So
very sad, very sad.
So it took until recently when Mama finally bought the entire series collection.
Very grateful, very grateful.
And we got to see the entire series from start to finish in the English dub.
And we love it!
Yes.
We knew we would. After seeing just the first episode, we knew we would love this anime. And then after the first 3, yeah, we were just like, oh, we gotta see more. And basically, I was waiting for the perfect price. It started off like a lot of anime, unfortunately, on Amazon at a much higher price.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it came down to a nice price. And then when it came down to a nice price and put it in the basket and went back the next day, it had dropped even more, and I jumped on it.
Right.
So, if you would like to own this series, it is available still on Amazon at a nice price right now of $27.
Right. Unfortunately, it's not on Netflix. That would be great, but I think this is such a popular series that they decided to just either keep it on the Crunchyroll website to stream if you buy their streaming platform, or you just get the DVD and watch from beginning to end.
First, I want to get a shout out to a lot of our favorite anime voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
We have Josh Grell as Yuri Katsuki.
And Jerry Jewell as Victor.
And then we have Colleen Klinkenbeard as Minako, which was a nice surprise. We also have Christopher Sabat.
Yes, as Chris. That was hilarious. Like, wait a minute, you're voicing your own name.
And it was so funny because we didn't know. At first, he was doing this accent, this character, and we never in a billion years would have guessed it was him, so he did an awesome job portraying this character.
Right. And when you see the character, and then you realize who Christopher has also voiced, it's like
Christopher Giacometti.
Yes, he's like sounds like a whole other person. You're so used to hearing "I am here" or the Armstrong Fist, and then you get to this, and it's like, what the heck?
We got J. Michael Tatum as Michelle Crispino, Justin Briner as Emil Nekola,
and Caitlin Glass as
Laya Baranakoskavaya.
Yeah, so yeah, they had a lot of people we know.
And Clifford Chapin.
Yes.
As an additional voice, and we kept saying at the end, Clifford Chapin, Clifford Chapin, Clifford Chapin. But
like, where is he?
Yes,
looks like he's just doing extra voices. So this time he was an extra.
And he also had Ian Sinclair as Celestiano Cialdini.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned Justin Briner, right?
Yes.
All right. Yes, and we heard him. We didn't have to see the end credits. We just heard the character. It was like a Dutch Deku or something.
Yes. So it was a great casting for these characters. We think Jerry Jewell and Josh Grell were perfect, and they were brilliant. And the thing that really stuck out for me about this particular anime is I love anime that makes me feel joyful the whole time I'm watching it. And up until this anime, the only one that had done that every episode, no matter how many times I've watched it, is Ouran High School Host Club.
Yes,
I mean, it's just joyful and happy and fun. And mixed in it, of course, are some lessons and messages, but it's just so much fun that you enjoy watching it. And Yuri on Ice is now the second anime to do the same thing. Every episode, brilliant, fun, wonderful, messages of hope, inspiration, great characters, fun characters, just a brilliant slice of life anime.
Yes. And like you said, you get that feeling the entire time. It has such a calming atmosphere to it, even when they're being off the wall and goofy with the characters and stuff and the situations. It's just a really fun anime to watch, and we have lots of fun anime, but there are ones like this and on that really stand out as being just exceptional. And you had mentioned for the voices, the one thing we also noticed when we tried to find this show prior to buying a DVD was that we could not find it in English dub. Well, I thought was the strangest thing, but it actually turns out it's because a lot of people who have watched the show did not care for the English dub. They usually found their voices very irritating, so they only wanted to see it in Japanese and only made available for you to see in Japanese. In order to see it in English, you would have to buy it, which I thought was very odd because I didn't find anything wrong with the voices they had. The most I saw was that they said Victor sounded like Gru from Despicable Me.
I love the way all of the voice actors did every character. I didn't see anything to be irritated or hate. I thought they were brilliant. And when we saw the first 3 episodes in Japanese, we loved it.
Right.
So we think both groups of voice actors did an amazing job. We also didn't mention, please forgive us, Micah Solero, who did Yurio. But it was Yuri Pluyevsky, but they called him Yurio since there were 2 Yuris. Of course, he hated it.
Right.
And it was Kristen McGuire. And here as well, she was Loop. Okay. So that's 2 more people that we failed to mention. Sorry, but everyone here was brilliant. I thought they were perfectly cast. We have to mention that, like in a lot of anime, you have the 2 main characters that are automatically shipped from the beginning, and you know they're going to end up in the end. And we didn't know this just by looking at the pictures or looking at the case, but there's so many spoilers that exist on the internet that we end up knowing it.
Right, because the show was about 4 or 5 years old, so a lot of this stuff has already been surfaced.
So 16. So 4 years old.
Yeah, 4 years old.
And we've heard rumors and seen information that there's supposed to be a movie that's coming out. Please, 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 please. For this anime, and I'm really hoping they do release this movie.
Yes.
I can't wait to see it because it's got to be brilliant and fun, and it better have the same voice actors.
Right. Yeah, there was actually supposed to be quite a bit for the rest of the show, and we're not sure what happened because the show was very popular. There are rumors that they would have. There was supposed to be quite a few things coming out after the initial release of the season. It was originally supposed to be, I think, more than just 1 season. They always say complete series, but the way that the show ends without being a spoiler is that they were looking forward to showing the characters again. It was supposed to be look like maybe a 2nd season, like to actually finish the story. A live action adaptation, which would be done very well because it's not in a fantasy realm, so they could get a lot of things right. It was supposed to be an animated prequel movie called Ice Adolescence, and it would have been about Victor's backstory and what led him to become the world champion.
Love to see it. So, back to the 2 main characters we were mentioning. They are shipped and they end up together by the end of the anime. And again, we knew this because there were spoilers online. And yes, due to the amount of time they were set to be there. But I think what's brilliant about this anime is 2 things. One, every character that appears, especially the ones that are competing during the different competitions, are distinct and individual and just so varied. There are no 2 characters that are alike. You can't mistake one character for another. One character doesn't look like another. One character doesn't act like another. And the second one is, it's the beauty of this being about ice skating, figure skating, whichever you prefer to call it. I've always loved ice skating. I can ice skate. I love it, and whether it's male or female competition, I always enjoy it and watching it during the Olympics and so forth. So finding out they had an anime about ice skating, it's like, oh my gosh, and this is being male competition. And we also have to point out, and you have to know by now because it's been out a while, that this is a male-focused anime.
Yes.
And the focus of the two main characters are two males that are gay. And I think in the beginning, you told me that Yuri is discovering himself, so it's not quite clear that he is.
Yeah. I think they said that, without stating it in your face, was he's probably bisexual, because it looked like he was interested in his friend who's female when they were growing up as kids,
Right.
But when they flash forward to later in present day, she has already been married to, used to be like a childhood bully of his. She married him and had kids, so it was clear nothing was going to happen with them.
And all the kids look exactly like him. All the girls look exactly like him in the face, and they have her hair. It's hilarious.
Right. So you knew there was nothing going to happen there. So it looks like Victor was sort of the second chance for him, and like what who was really meant to be with for the story of the show.
And the relationship that blossoms, it's brilliantly done. It's humorous. It's funny. It's touching, and it's just like you're watching any relationship. And the way that it was done, you get to see it bud. And I love that there's one episode that shows really how they came together. And they chose to put it, I think it's the second to the last episode.
Yeah, it was like close to the end.
And they didn't put it in the beginning, and I'm so glad they didn't, because if they had put it in the beginning, this would have been a whole different series, and it would have had a whole different feel, and it just wouldn't have been the same beautiful story. But putting it the second to the last, and you get to see the hilarious reason of how they got together and how this happened, and it is hilarious as hell. You won't stop laughing. You'll keep watching over and more because you can't believe this is what happened and this is how they got together. And as is the case in a lot of relationships in anime as well as in anime live action, they're complete opposites. Victor and Yuri are complete opposites, and they end up together. And we don't want to say too much because we will spoil a lot of the wonderful things that happen.
Right.
But just know that the way that it unfolds and the way the story is told is just beautifully done. And we also have to mention Yuri, who's also a Russian skater who looks up to Victor, and he's younger. He's 15. And he is known as the Russian punk. Yeah. And he kicks people a lot. He's always kicking people. He has these outbursts, and he's a pretty boy. He's like
really aggressive. He's almost like if Bakugo was a skater.
But he's so pretty. He puts on his outfits and stuff, and he's pretty, and he can skate everyone else under the table. He's just that awesome. But again, each character is varied and different, so his story is also wonderful to learn. How he is when he's not in front of people, how he truly is. This, versus the image that he gives off. And he becomes friends with Victor and with Yuri. And again, it's wonderful how that happens as well. So basically, we'll just tell you so we don't ruin everything, that Victor ends up coaching Yuri and Yurio for a short time, and then he chooses one of the two to become the main coach for.
Right.
And the other Yuri gets jealous because he's chosen the other Yuri. And then the point of that Yuri is to prove to the other Yuri that he is worthy of being coached by Victor, and he should have been the one, and that he is the best. But you have to watch to see which Yuri does what.
Right. And two more things definitely want to mention. First off would be since we're talking about the characters still, be for Victor, is that you had mentioned earlier about Oran High School Host Club. And for me, in a way, Victor is like a Russian version of Tamaki. He is very likable and lovable from the first few episodes.
Became my favorite character right off the bat. It was like, who's your favorite character? Victor!
And he's so just full of himself, but not in the way of being annoying or narcissistic, but he's put himself on this on this pedestal that he is the greatest, and
well, he's got 5 gold medals to prove it, so I guess it's okay that he can act that way.
And he forgets a lot of stuff. He's like, oh yeah. And then the other thing would be definitely the opening theme.
Okay, before we get to that, because it's special on its own. Back to Victor. Yes, and he has this personality where he's almost whimsical in the way that he behaves. He's very serious about competition. He was, of course, very serious. He's gotten 5 medals. But I think the thing that sticks out about him is that unlike a lot of shows that we see in America, cartoons we watch where there's competition and it's ruthless, in here, Victor supports everyone. And the Yuri that he ends up coaching and teaching, he says, if you can't support and show other people, encourage them, then I'm disappointed in you. Mm-hmm. And he walks away. And he's stunned because, this guy has 5 gold medals, and the way that is always presented is that, they fought tooth and nail to get to the top, and to stay there, they got to fight tooth and nail. But in this anime, that's not how it's presented, and I think it's wonderful because it reminds me of the law of attraction. What you give out, you receive back. And Victor is such a loving person, and he gives to everyone that's around him. And then you find out by watching this anime just how much he's given to almost every skater that's competing. And he's very young still, he's only 27, but just the amount of encouragement and love and help and everything that he's done for people, you can tell with each character that he interacts with and how they get along with him. And that's very different from what you're used to seeing in a lot of shows. And that he wants to teach this as well to the person he's chosen to coach personally, and everyone has been vying for his attention, and everyone has been wanting to be coached by him. But that you see that this is a major part of what he wants to teach is beautiful, because he's teaching this anime itself, teaching you that yes, you can be number 1, but to be number 1, it's not necessary to step on others, to do harm to others, to be cruel to others. You can just be loving and helpful, and again, what you give out, you get back in return. Mm-hmm. One more thing before we get to the opening. Don't be afraid or shied off by the anime focusing on the gay community mostly. It's a beautiful anime. It's wonderful, and if you think of it that way, you're going to miss out on seeing something that is so much fun and so much joy. It's so much fun and so much joy that immediately after completing the entire series, we watched it a second time. Right. And I think I can watch this over and over just like Oran, and I'll get the same joy and the happiness and good feeling of watching it that I did the first time. And again, before we get to the opening and the endings, like to say again, great job casting for putting this out. Can't wait for more to come for this anime. Now, the opening and the beautiful music by Dean Fujioka.
Yes. And it's
History Maker is the name of the song.
Yes. And actually a lot of the music they have in here is like really, really well done, whether it's already existed and they picked out for certain characters who will come from all around the country, all around the world, or they have ones they create on their own, and all of them always blend well, or they fit with the characters. And the singers from other countries actually make it most of the way. The History Maker song is incredibly catchy. It's very well done. You sing along to it, whether it's the intro version or it's the full version. And Dean Fujioka did an amazing job singing it.
Beautiful, and it's just beautifully animated, and the skating is so fluid in the animation, and the routine that's being chosen with the 3 main characters. You think there are 2, but there really are 3, and the music and how it goes with it. I've listened to History Maker, and I'm not joking, hundreds and hundreds of times. And I've listened to it on loop, just letting it play over and over and over, whether I'm looking at it or listening to it on YouTube or listening to it on disc. It's just an absolutely beautiful song. Yeah. And it stands out I know is one of my favorite songs of all time, absolutely all time, and one of my favorite openings of all time for anime as well.
Yes.
And one more thing I want to mention, that during this entire series, Yuri Katsuki's family supports him no matter what he's done, no matter, you know, he was training the first time, when he quit, when he went back to training again. This family is loving and fun and crazy, and I think part of what attracts Victor is that relationship with the family. Mm-hmm. Because no matter what happens, his friends and all the people in the town he lives with, they're cheering him on, they're supporting him, they're watching him, they're staying up late at night, they travel and go travel to see him in different competitions. Mm-hmm. And it's just beautiful that it shows all different type of relationships in here. But I don't think there's one relationship we saw that didn't show support, but the support was in different ways. Right. And again, law of attraction, what you put out, you get back in return. Mm-hmm. Beautiful job, beautifully done. If you've seen Yuri on Ice, let us know what you think in the comments below. Who's your favorite character? Did you see it when it originally aired? Or did you see it like us on disc after the series ended?
Right. And be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and more to pause videos.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you want to do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. With her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket. Give it to you later on in the form of a locket.